I was addicted to meth for about 10 months. To say I lost myself and was in another world is putting it lightly. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Jen and the channel is Faith Made Legacy. If you're new here, please go ahead, check it out. Give the video a like if it's something you're interested, and hit the subscribe button with the little bell next to it so that you get notified every time that I'm live or upload a new video. And if you're returning back, thank you guys so much for being back. I appreciate it. Let me dive right into it. So this is a video that I've kind of held off and have been not totally just ready to do for a while, but it's a highly requested video, and I think we're gonna do it today, so just keep watching, and here we go. I was addicted to meth for about 10 months. Meth is meth, methamphetamine, speed, glass, G, Tina, all different kinds of names, ice, crank, different kinds of names that they call it. And I definitely went through a 10-month everyday addiction. I did have some other experiences with speed, such as Adderall, a couple times in Vegas earlier in my life, where I had briefly tried meth, but this 10-month everyday addiction is what I'm going to talk about today. So here we go. Back, I'd say I was on another planet, in another realm the entire time. Drug-induced psychosis, I'd say so, yes, and that's what many are going to say scientifically. And I just take it as there's a scientific and there's a spiritual side to everything that goes along with our heads, our mental state, drugs, all of that. I believe substance use is a part of mental health, and meth is definitely the devil's drug. I'm a cocaine addict, as many of you know. I was addicted to cocaine for the longest of all the drugs I've been involved with. That was about between 10 and 15 years. If you guys are familiar with the channel, you might have seen that video, and I will link it right here. If not, I will also link it down in the description box below. So that is part of what led me to my meth addiction. Had I done meth before? Yes. As I mentioned earlier, I had tried it a couple times here and there in Las Vegas. However, I was a coke addict, so I always snorted it rather than smoke it or shoot it. Therefore, being someone who would snort lines of cocaine obsessively, I would always do too much and not like it. And, you know, so it would usually be because there wasn't cocaine around, and it was only a couple times. So that just kind of came and went, and it just never made its way into my life until later. So the first night of my 10-month addiction, I had actually been drinking and was very intoxicated. I had never been a big drinker in my life, even with all my addiction. Yes, of course, I drank here and there, especially champagne back in the clubs when I was stripping, nightclubs when I was out, all of that kind of stuff in my 20s and 30s. But this night I had not drank for probably about 5 years. I'd been clean. And I always hated drinking because I'm a lightweight. So it would make me very I'd get the spins. I would be sick. So cocaine would take that away. And it always seemed like a great idea to do some coke whenever I was drunk. So I was coming home, and I actually happened to live in an apartment complex where there were many meth addicts. And they called it G in this time and era. So G stands for glass, I guess, which is like the little shards of the meth. Maybe I'll insert a picture or something, but if you guys aren't familiar with what it looks like. But I guess over the years, it's changed its state and its strength and everything else. So, you know, drugs always pick up new nicknames and everything. It was called G, and there were many people who dealt it, including one of my neighbors that lived directly across from me in another apartment. When I was making my way home, this particular person was outside with a bunch of his friends, and they were, you know, getting high. And I was so drunk, and it had been a while, but I was ready to relapse, and I was just wanting to not feel this drunk feeling, excuse me. Felt like I was going to throw up. I was very close. And I started begging, does anyone have coke? I knew that they didn't. because I'd lived here for a while and it just wasn't around, which is how I was staying clean, probably. And so, you know, they kept telling me, no, they don't, but they have G, which is meth, and this and that. And, you know, finally I just was in a bad state of judgment. My judgment was impaired, and I said, okay, here's $20. So I went into the apartment with them and I snorted 2 huge fat lines, which is not something that you probably should do with meth. I don't really know. I don't, you know, but that was something I would have done with coke, and meth is a lot more powerful than cocaine. It's still a different drug. A lot of people will like to compare it and say that meth is like a stronger cocaine. That's not really what it is, because amphetamine is different. But yes, it's too much to do, especially for my first time like that. And so that's what I did. And I went back into my apartment by myself. And all I remember from that very night is that I sat up until the sun came up, unable to move. Like I was kind of like laying in bed, very stuck like Chuck, just unable to move, paranoid, at thinking police were coming for me, everything outside. And that was the first night of the 10. Well, I stayed like that, and I really don't know how long it was. A couple days. I think there was 2 nightfalls that I was like that, just in the bed, didn't move, didn't sleep, didn't eat, nothing. And I guess I woke up eventually, and the first thing that I thought about was meth. The beginning, I started to remember back without being in this like psychotic or psychosis, you know, thinking that police were outside and this and that. And the euphoria had been amazing to me. I do have bipolar disorder, which isn't really the point, but you know, sometimes I think I was in like a state where I was just really like in a depressive state where I wasn't able to get off the couch and things like that. And it had given me this euphoria. I remembered back, I started cleaning, I started doing all kinds of stuff at one time. And when you're in a depressive state and you're unable to get off the couch and do anything, this is a really exciting thing, and it feels really good. So I went over to him and I got some more. I did this for several days, and you know, I remember at one point significantly, we were in my kitchen, and I remember turning to him. I had been friends with him. He was one of these guys, one of these dealers, like he was a nice guy, very intelligent, very charming, charismatic, stuff like that. So there was no romantic relationship. That's not where I'm going with this, but it's just like he wasn't just like some, you know, no teeth and just, you know, disgusting. Like, I don't know how to explain it, but like he was someone that I actually, in my not well thinking head, trusted and made sense to me and things like that. So I remember very distinctly one thing that I'll never forget. It was probably like a week that I had been doing this, buying more every morning, you know, learning how to handle it a little better, how to tolerate it, how to go to the store, be in public, things like that. And I turned to him and I said, jokingly, like, ha ha ha. And I feel like there was another girlfriend there. I don't remember. When I look back there, it's just all such a blur. But I remember saying to him, so how long does it take before I'm addicted? And he turned to me and he just kind of laughed and smiled. And he said, well, honey, you're already addicted. And I'll just never forget that. It was so powerful and so true. And as I look back, and it makes me like so sick how the way he said it, and it just like, you know, he gave it to me for my first time. But, you know, that's what he did. It's not on him. It's on me. That's not what I'm saying, because, you know, I would have found it somewhere else. I was going to find something. But it is amazing to me that people are comfortable with that many times. But anyways, moving on. We will have many more videos about meth and about my experiences with it. I think it'll just be easier for me to do them like, you know, one at a time, or if something comes up, because again, like I said, it is all kind of a blur. But I did want to mention this. Throughout it, I was almost in psychosis the whole time. I remember, you know, just like sitting in my apartment with I think the door to my apartment open and seeing firemen go by and then not knowing if they were really there. I remember just always thinking there was people after me, the cops, this and that. Some people experience this in real life, and I, you know, after these experiences feel so horrible for that. Like, I can't even explain the paranoia and the stuff that I don't know to this day if it really happened or not. So that's about it, you guys. Very similar to my cocaine addiction. I just decided one day that I wanted to stop. And stopping was so difficult because I did not regain my appetite. I was so underweight and malnourished. I slept, I was so weak. My muscles were so weak, could barely lift my head for weeks, if not months. I'm not really sure afterwards. I was just good for nothing. It was so difficult. And this is 10 months. So I just can't even imagine people who go through it for years. The entire time I continued to only snort it. I never did wind up shooting it or smoking it, which did it affect my teeth? It still did. They're weaker. They're grinded down a little bit. But smoking it is, I guess, when you really start like losing teeth. I didn't lose any teeth or anything like that. And thank God I didn't start shooting it. But snorting it is just the same. My nose is torn up. I've had one surgery. I possibly might need another one. I have a very deviated septum. I have holes all through my septum and through my nose. They did start with cocaine, but definitely meth just kind of did it. So yeah, it took me a long time to come back to myself, if I can even say that. I don't know if I was ever the same again. But that's all I'm going to get into today, you guys. I just wanted to get that out there because I know some people I've mentioned here and there about when I was doing meth, and I've had a lot of questions about it, and I haven't felt comfortable going into the video yet, but the addiction was this 10 months, and as I think of more stories, so much of it is just not there, it's like blank. I will definitely do story time videos about them. Thank you guys so much for watching. Once again, my name is Jen. The channel is Faith Made Legacy, and I will see you guys in my next one.